Support for this episode of PBS Reno Arts is provided by the Nevada Arts Council. Arts and creativity make us stronger, fueling innovation, prosperity, and thriving communities across Nevada. They boost our economy, promote well-being, and enhance education, empowering Nevadans of all ages. The Nevada Arts Council nurtures these essential creative forces. Together, let's elevate the arts in every corner of our great state. More at nvartscouncil.org.
This is PBS Reno Arts from the studio at PBS Reno in Reno, Nevada. I'm Dave Santina, and I am sitting across from another hometown boy, Mr. Kristoffer Polaha. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming in. I was last night. This is recording on the 12th of February. We're going to put it on the out in the world on the 23rd. So I want to mention that last night was a premiere. We had a special event at the Pioneer Theater. Pioneer Center for the Performing Arts, the premiere of Mimics, your film, your first directorial effort.
Debut, yeah. And it was a triumph. It was a bona fide triumph.
I got to go. It was really fun to be there. I loved the experience, and what a supportive environment. Everybody, it's like everybody knew you, and you knew everybody. It was incredible.
It felt like a warm, that was like a hug. That was just a giant hug. I think we had close to 900 people fill the space. We had Mayor Sheevy, we had a representative from the governor's office, Tom. Danette did a Q&A afterwards. But just to be there, sort of like home field advantage a little bit.
Yeah.
But like, and I had a teacher from elementary, Mrs. Armentrout, show up. I had a teacher from my high school, Bob Anderson, show up. Like, it was one of those moments, our neighbors, Franz and Janet. It was a really cool moment.
On the way in, I ran into your old babysitter, in fact. That's how far back people were going.
Yeah.
Someone, who said, "Oh yeah, she was 6 months old. I was a babysitter."
Isn't that fun?
It was fantastic. So,
you know, it's like it's a thing about having a dream and then pushing through. I just want to say I can't hear anything in these. Is that should I hear anything?
That's my fault. Now you do.
There we go. Now I'm hearing it.
So yeah, there are controls
buttons,
here for
Dave.
volume. It's a magic machine I'm working with.
And my question was, do I keep going without, or should I just say I can't hear? But I'm glad I can hear because this is better.
It's much better when you call me out on this and make me feel like an idiot on my own show.
At least you pushed record.
I hit the record button. Yeah, I was telling Chris before I have done a couple of these where I got 10 minutes in and forgot to hit record. Humiliating. Thank God not today. I was very careful to do it right today, except I forgot that you have to listen.
No, it's all good. It's perfect.
I should mention, this podcast is coming out on the 23rd of February. Your film has a theatrical release that began on the 13th, correct?
Right. Yes.
So let me, in advance, but after, congratulate you on the tremendous success of the theatrical run of Mimics, which we are now projecting into the future.
Thank you. You speak it and it shall happen.
That's right. So well done.
Speak it into existence. We have a huge weekend ahead of us, and in the moment of this interview behind us, and we'll see the verdict. We'll see what happens. But to have a movie released theatrically nationwide, it's a big deal. I mean, everybody I've talked to, like. It's funny. I don't want to name drop, so I'm not going to.
Oh, it's all right.
But there's somebody that there's a daughter of a very well-known director was like, the fact that you're in theaters, like, that's a huge deal, dude.
It is.
And she's like, congratulations on that, because it's, AMC has to say, yeah, we want to show this.
Yeah.
And Regal has to say, yeah, we want to show this. And then Cinemark, they have to say, yeah, we want to show this. So the cool thing about it, and the cool thing about this show right now is that, so we just had our first weekend out. We are already getting second weeks in places like Nashville, the Thoroughbred. There's a place in Birmingham, Alabama, a theater on the 20th that's going to open up. So we have what's called a second frame.
Oh, nice.
So hopefully what's happening right now is that we're gearing up for our second frame and an expansion into more theaters. Or we didn't do any business and we're already out and you got to stream us.
Well, either way, it's the film is Mimics. I know I feel like it's been talked over because I've seen a bunch of media about it, because you've been everywhere, and I was very aware of this for quite a while leading up to it, because I had tickets to the premiere. My wife is a VIP, my daughter is a VIP. I was just a P.
You were just a P. That is GA. You were GA.
But really enjoyed the experience, and they did too. And what a fun group you got to work with. The cast was there last night. You had a Q&A after the fact. So really an interesting experience to see a film in that environment. This is not the same, but I wonder how you feel when the film is showing and you're there in a live audience. For years we would do documentaries here at public television, right? So PBS Reno, we're making documentaries. We're sometimes doing screenings. The Wild Nevada Show sometimes, which I'm in sometimes, we do screenings, and I would pace in the back of the room because I couldn't stand to sit still. And I'm wondering, for something like this, something that was such a monumental effort, what's that like while people are watching it and you're there?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. My hand was on my wife's leg for the majority of half the film, and at one point I finally moved it, and then I moved it back, and the spot where my hand was so hot that I was like, I'm sorry, babe. I'm going to show you a picture that I took last night, and I'll send it to you, and you can show your audience. This was me sitting in the back, looking at people watching the movie.
Oh, that's great.
And it was in this moment where what I love about cinema and what I love about movie theaters and theater and that experience of going to a movie and seeing it, you go into a space that's dark, filled with strangers, and you're washed over with light and sound. And the light and the sound makes you feel things that you didn't expect to feel and feel things new.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful art. And I am blown away to be a contributor to it. I mean, the hair on my face stands up as I'm talking about it, because like we were talking before the camera started, this was a dream I had when I was like a little kid.
It's amazing.
Growing up here in Reno, Nevada.
Yeah.
And I used to think, and I've always wanted to make movies in Reno. I'm going to make more movies in Reno. I have a trilogy in my head, not mimics, but like I just wanted to do for some reason, it was just, I don't know why a trilogy, but like I wanted to do 3 separate stories that all take place in Reno. Because I just think it's an incredible canvas for storytelling. It's just such a wild, weird, beautiful town.
And there are few films that have been made here. I think of very few. I remember Hard 8 was one years ago.
Hard 8 was one.
I think Paul Thomas Anderson, one of his earliest, maybe his first movie, but way back.
Sean Penn did The Pledge, with Jack Nicholson. With Jack Nicholson was filmed here in Reno.
That's
but
right.
I don't know that it took place. It was. I don't think it was.
It was based here. The story was here.
It was
because they showed him driving. I still remember this. They showed him driving in on, I think it was 4th Street, which was doubling for the freeway. And I remember, it's one of those things when you watch a movie with people who live in the area.
Yeah, and you're like, nope, that's not it.
You can't get there that way. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I always remember that from watching with like buddies who came from LA when I was in college, and there was like a chase scene on a freeway, and they were like, no,
that doesn't connect
from
to that.
one shot to the other is 40 miles apart. What are they doing? But
Right.
no one knows that except the people who live there. So
people who live there.
it's fascinating. So you get to depict Reno.
The
way you want.
And it was funny because my mom was talking to me this morning, and she's like, it's just all of the things. She's like, you shot the Pioneer Center, and it's beautiful. And you shot St. Mary's, where I was born, and it's beautiful.
I was born there, too.
Were you?
Yeah.
Fellow. I think it was the only hospital.
Marians?
Yeah.
What are we, Marians? I don't know.
St. Marians.
Yeah, but that was the only hospital. But you did make it look beautiful.
Right? Like it's this art.
I literally took a second
to
capture. Wait, that says
that's
St. Mary's Hospital.
Yeah.
Oh, that is St. Mary's Hospital.
And it's a beautiful building, and we got it from the angle that it just sort of stretches out into the frame.
Yeah.
At Mountain Crest.
Mountain View.
Is it Mountain View Cemetery? Yeah. So my grandmother is buried there. My grandfather's buried there. My aunt's buried there. My great grandmother's buried there. It's where my mom wants to be buried, and morbidly thinking. But it's the corner there's this little corner that looks like a Greek. And it's deep in the background when Desmond and I are up on that sort of weird ship mausoleum aspect of it. But in the distance, in the corner, is where my grandmother's buried. So it is just this intensely personal, all of these intensely personal elements that went into making of Mimics. And it really was a love letter from me to Reno. And for me, and to basically say I'm grateful for the life that I have. I mean, it's interesting being in Hollywood. People will say, "Where are you from?" And I say, "I'm born in Reno." They're like, "You're from Reno?"
No one's from there.
No one's from there. And I'm like, "I'm from Reno." And I got a friend. We would, like there was this sort of energy that would kind of, on set, and she's like, "Reno's coming out," and so my nickname on one of the shows with Jill Wagner was Reno, because she's like, "All right, Reno's coming out."
That's too funny.
So it's become a great source of pride for me being from here. Because it is an unexpected. It is like a weird little special superpower where people are like, where are you from? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm from a place where there's wild horses roaming and where there's Paiute Shoshone Indian reservations and where there's gambling and where there's you could fall into a mine.
Yeah.
You can where else on the earth
You
is
could
that?
both fall into a mine and fall off a cliff within 45 minutes of each other.
Within 45 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
And you know this from having traveled the state
Right.
so thoroughly.
Right.
There is just so much unexpected beauty in our state, like Sand
true.
Mountain.
Right.
What is that?
And
Just
how
like a
is that?
giant
right?
dune in the
Like-
middle of the desert that's as big as a mountain that kind of roams
Right.
and
We did a
moves.
story. We did a show there, the first show we ever did for the Wild Nevada series, and I had a guy explain to me how it happened, and I still don't understand.
Yeah,
it.
you're like
it's not possible, and
Yeah,
yet there's a
you're like-
pile of dirt
Yeah.
right there.
Which to me was always evidence of the Noah's flood. I'm like, I live in the desert and there's fossilized fish. Like, how do
Right.
we, you know what I mean? Like, it's just cool. Like,
It
it's
is
a
cool.
cool place to be from.
It is, and it's interesting how many people come here temporarily who never leave
Right.
because they fall in love with it,
Right.
but they don't know until they get here why it's worth loving.
Well, and that was my dad's story because he's from Allentown, Pennsylvania. He
Okay.
came here to play football for UNR. And when he went 4 years of college, and he was like, I've never seen the sky this big and this
Yeah.
blue.
Yeah.
And I love it. And he came back and made a life here.
My mom was born in Philadelphia and came here to get a divorce.
Did she? Oh, did she really? Because of the 6-week rule. It was
Yeah.
it's
She
the
said,
divorce
she
capital
said
of the
yes,
world.
didn't really mean it, came out to get a divorce, and then stayed long enough to meet my dad, and here you go.
There you go.
Funny.
Grateful for second chances, both of us. Same,
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think she chucked a ring into the river, though.
There's
There's a moment in Mimics where we have a little introduction to Truckee River that I don't want to give any of the movie away
Little
than
history
what
lesson.
you want to tell. But there's a little history lesson there, and it reminded me of there was a movie called The Women back in the 40s, I think.
Yeah.
That shot right outside the courthouse, and they threw their rings into the river back then. So it's been around.
Mary Pickford, who was arguably Hollywood's first major blockbuster star. It was Mary Pickford and Charlie Chaplin. And of course, you had Buster Keaton. So there was a trifecta of, but we're talking a global phenomenon that was unprecedented because movies were brand new.
Yeah.
And she has a house on the river. So
Oh,
Mary
really?
Pickford has a place where,
don't think
right
I
on
knew
the
that.
river. Yeah, the white one, that street there, Arlington. That they're
Yeah.
doing construction on. She's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. It's like that was Mary Pickford's house.
Okay.
There's this great history of Hollywood. 395 was the road before 5 was ever built. That was they called it the Neon Highway, and it would take you from Los Angeles to Reno, Nevada. Vegas didn't exist.
Right.
And all the way up, Lone Pine, Big Pine, Bishop, all those, cities had these neon signs for the travelers. And we're talking like 1920s, 1930s with these old cars, and if you see how those little towns are spaced out, it's just about a tank of gas at the time to get you from one to the next.
Yeah.
But ultimately to get you to Reno. And so people used to come up here. It's got a great history. I mean, all the way, of course, if you go back even further, Mark Twain and Virginia City. And I mean, it's pretty cool.
It does have a lot going for it.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating place for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
I don't want to forget why you're here. We want to still. I
here.
still want to know more about your movie.
Here.
There you go.
Mimics.
And how do you shoot a movie here? Because people don't think there's enough infrastructure or film support or crew or any of the things you need to make a movie, and yet you've done it.
No, there are.
So how do you do it?
Where there is a will, there's a way. First, you need money. And to be honest with you, half of our budget came from Reno.
Support from locals.
Yeah, people invested, and 2 people. And then we had 2 outside investors, one from Texas and one from Idaho. And a 5th who gave us our development fund and has been a great gift, and he was Arizona, but by way of Reno. You have to... It's almost like the line from the Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
You have to just show up and put out your feelers. There are great artists that may not be entrenched in Hollywood and have a resume as long as this poster of work that they've done, but who are really gifted. We had this really lovely set deck. Our art crew, we hired somebody out of LA. My DP was out of LA. There were a few sort of like key parts that we through Ben Wagner and Adam Cram, who have AKA Productions out of LA, who came to Reno and filmed a movie in January of 2024.
Okay.
So I came to set and I was like, is this possible? And he said, this person's Reno, this person's Reno, our camera department's Reno, our lighting guys, our grip is Reno. It can be done. And so as soon as I sort of knew that there was a green light of like people locally, which also then gave me bigger tax incentive.
Sure. Yeah, that
And
makes
then
sense.
the other half of it was Justine, what is the name of her True Talent?
Oh, the
True Talent. So you have this studio that's like training actors, and you've got Justine Reyes, right? And it's just this. We had incredible actors. We had David Gamble. We had Megan Tingle and Melody Ricketts, and we had all these people that jumped in. And I was like, this is great.
This works.
This works. Like, there's no need to like fret. So anyone who's thinking about doing it, you just have to do it. And I don't want to give my budget away, but we did it.
I was going to ask, but I won't.
Yeah, we did it. It wasn't so Dick Walsh is the former CEO of AMC.
Okay.
And I sent him a link early on. This is before it was even color timed and even before we had the sound mixed. And he said, "So what did you spend on that? Was it $7 million or 10?" He's like, "It's between 7 or 10 million, right?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "No." So it can also be done on an incredibly lean budget here.
Right.
And
but
I think
still done well.
But still done well. And I think having seen it, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I mean, it doesn't feel like if I were
looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good. And and
Thank you.
There, you mentioned your DP, and I love a story you told at the Q&A last night, which was up at the cemetery.
Yeah.
A shot happened. What I thought in the moment watching the film, I thought that's the best shot in the film.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Was an accident. We call them happy accidents when we're out shooting stuff, and it felt like not an accident, but you were distracted with some other duty, and he grabbed a quick shot of. I don't want to give away anything, but there's a sunset. There's a sunset.
There's soldiers,
and there's something being done in the foreground that you watch, and it's a beautiful shot. And I just, in the moment watching, I thought, that's the shot of the movie to me right there. That was gorgeous. And that really happened just in the moment because
Alex
he
Yellen.
had inspiration.
He had an idea.
What's his name again?
His name is Alex Yellen.
Okay.
And Alex Yellen is also a director, and he directed a movie called Daruma. So I was really gifted to have certain people jump into my life. Mark Oakley obviously wrote the script.
And you guys have been friends.
We've been friends. I've known Mark since first grade.
Yeah.
And Mark, here's the thing about Mark that it can't be stated enough. He wrote something, okay? And what he wrote was his. And if you're a writer, it's basically like, it'd be like showing up with a painting and being like, hey, here's my painting.
Right.
And then a guy like me comes along, I'm like, if you put some blue there, and what if you did this, and then why don't we just, let's. And so he was so willing to just be like, yeah, we'll make changes, and yes, what do you need? And we're going to shave this out. So Mark and I we fashioned this script in true collaboration together for 3 years. And then Alex Yellen came on board. So the script was good. Meanwhile, Ken Carpenter shows up, and Ken Carpenter's my producing partner, produced this movie with me. And he gave notes, and he said, listen, you guys that are 120 pages, you got to make it 100 at least. Mark cut it down to 96 pages.
Wow, okay.
So we had this like incredible sort of, it became a team, and my whole, so my production company is called Podunk Productions.
I noticed the reaction when Podunk Productions graphic appeared on the screen. First thing, a lot of whoops in the crowd, and they're like, okay, this is meaningful.
This is meaningful. This is me. And I was like, and Reno, I love Reno, but everyone is like, where's Reno? And I'm like, it's this podunk little town in Nevada. Like, it's not Vegas. But here's the thing, it's also Polaha as a PO and slam dunk like a slam. So there's all sorts of stuff into it. But it's a collaborative thing, and if my production company weren't called Podunk Productions, I would call it Best Idea Wins. And if you're on my set, I've invited you to be there because I trust you and I respect you as an artist and a collaborator, and I want your best. And I think if you ask that of people, they present it. And so all of a sudden, Alex Yellen came, and man, he taught me so much about what he does, and he was so generous with his intelligence and his talent. And we shot listed this movie. And, I'm very specific. I'm also, when you get inside my brain pan, it's funny because Courtney Meredith, Design on Edge, right? Design on Edge, crushed it. Absolutely crushed it for us.
Courtney did the publicity for all of this and coordinated
our local
event.
Yeah,
and all of
yeah. And she was the one who sort of brought us the Pioneer Center, made that whole thing possible to have our world premiere there, advertised it, sort of just really became our point person and our person on the ground. So thank you, Courtney. She crushed it for us. Couldn't have been happier. But that was a side note, and I took myself off the point.
You were talking about Alex.
Yeah,
Yellen
and Alex Yellen, and
him teaching you so much when you were there.
Yeah,
the script and the producer coming in and whittling down to 96 pages.
Well, the idea of best idea wins, and the idea of trusting people and allowing them to do their best work. And so the movie is really a reflection of, Alex brought his A game, and he could have been selfish, and he could have said, "What do you want?" And I will only give you what you ask for.
Right. But he's suggesting things.
And he's like, "Dude, I think you've got an opportunity to do this, and do you mind?" And then I had the confidence to be like, "Yeah." Oh, the reason I brought Courtney up was because last night, if you were at the VIP thing, your wife and daughter were there.
Yes.
It was like being inside my brain. It was so sort of and everything was happening so quickly, and all these things were and I was like, this is kind of like being inside my head right now. I'm comfortable here, but I'm sure everybody else is like, what's happening? And so it's like I'm operating in this place where I need people to do their best work. I'm counting on it. And so when Alex was like, and I made a reference last night that he was Dr. Spock to my Captain Kirk. And I'm like, listen, Alex, I need you to point the camera that way. But what's funny about it was our first week, I would be like, okay, Alex, so it's imagine it's purple, right? And it's purple, and it's and then you just kind of, and the camera just, and he was looking at me going what are you talking about?
Are there words that represent what you think?
I need words, English words that can communicate what you want. Yeah. And I was like, and it really did teach me to articulate in a different way what I need. And there are some people who immediately, if I'm purple and it just, you'd be
know.
I get it, man. But Alex was like, I need more space. And I was like, okay, so imagine. And then I was able to articulate, I said, imagine, okay, it's David Bowie, it's the lead up to Heroes, it's that dun 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 dun, and it's purple. I want the color purple. I want deeper blues. I want deeper greens. I want to see me from behind, and I want silhouettes of Austin. And he's like, great, now I understand. I was like, and I want low angle and Citizen Kane. The shot in Citizen Kane. He's like, great, now I understand what you're talking about. And it was the ability to articulate. And then I had a guy named Barry Wise at the end of it. And Barry Wise was getting everything that we were shooting, and a day later he would start editing and compiling the movie in LA. I went to high school with Barry, so I've known Barry my whole life as well, and most of it. And Ben Wagner went to high school with my best friend Graham, who was there last night, and I've known Graham since we were 2. Wow! So it's very much if you know me, I'm hiring you if I know you, because I trust. Of course. Again, the way that I work though is Dave, come and do this with me because I trust you now, and let's go make this thing together.
Right. Well, then it's so personal. This is your first directing gig, so you want it to be. You want to trust the people you're working with because you probably would feel a little out of control, or if they're too far removed from you. Well,
or also there was a world where I was worried that if I hired the wrong DP, he could have very easily or she could have very easily taken over.
Yeah.
And been like, you don't know what you're talking about. Let me do
because you're
this
new.
Thing. You're new.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that situation. And then with my editor, Barry, he had a fully realized cut by August 3rd. So the entire month of July 2024, he cut and then temp sounded the entire film. And on August 3rd, I watched a movie. And it was the script, is what we shot. Yeah. He literally just built the movie as it was in the script. And I watched it and I was like, dude, I don't know where to start. What do we do now? And he's like, well, now we play, now we dig in. And he worked from August until March, and we just tinkered with it. And every frame was measured, every frame was poured over, and every decision was very, very deliberate. So what you watched last night, different than a lot of movies where it's sort of through a factory and time limits and having to answer to Warner Brothers and executives and bean counters and people who were like, we got to keep that in and cut that out and losing control. This was a movie that just, my hands were on the wheel the entire time.
How satisfying.
It was so satisfying. Yeah. And I don't say that in an egotistical way. I say that in such a grateful, like overwhelming experience. And then I later read Stanley Kubrick's book, and it's very much the world that he created for himself. Was like he just did this thing outside of a system and made the movies that he wanted to make. And I was like, oh, we just did that.
Yeah.
It mixes that. Like, that's kind of cool.
That brings up a question I had written about directing. Do you have favorite directors? Are there directors you would like to emulate? Or styles you'd like? You mentioned Citizen Kane specifically just now for a shot you were inspired by.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, who do you like?
Who do I like?
Who else do you like besides you?
The guy that probably has given me the most inspiration, I would say, is Steven Spielberg. Because, and of course,
Heard of him?
You ever heard of this guy?
Yeah, heard of him.
Yeah, he's a kid from Arizona. he made good. I remember going to see E.T. with my family. And very quickly, I'll tell you a story about Reno again. My dad was an attorney locally here, and you know, my mom was able to sort of stay at home early on and raise the four of us, me and my three brothers, my older brothers. And my dad's, I think as a family, the way that they wanted to connect and kick the weekend off was we would go to dinner, and then we'd go see a movie. And so I remember Park Lane 16. I remember the Old Town Downtown Theater. I could tell you where we saw Tootsie. I can tell you where we saw Chariots of Fire. I can tell you where we saw E.T., going to 7-Eleven, getting, for getting candy before the movie.
It's okay.
But we did it.
This was back before they made a big deal about it.
Yeah, that was before. And so I remember seeing, I think, must have seen advertisements for it as a kid, but wanted the Reese's Pieces to go see E.T. Was eating the kid as as Elliot was laying out.
It's almost Sense-Around. Remember Sense-Around?
Yeah. It's this little smell, the peach and the wind, and you're like, wait, what? Why isn't this as good as it should be? But I remember so specifically his movies that have impacted my life. And then as I got older, Martin Scorsese's movies had a really huge impact. Quentin Tarantino's movies had a massive impact on me, and I've told this story a lot. It was Pulp Fiction. Yeah. I saw it in a Sparks Theater the summer of my junior year, 1994, and it was like a clarion call. He shot like a flare that said, "Hey, follow me to independent filmmaking. This is the path. I'm leading the way." I remember thinking, like, I can do this, and knowing that I was like, you know what, I can do. If I put a shopping cart a camera in a shopping cart as a dolly, like that would be a cool way to. So I just started, wanting to do that. And then Stanley Kubrick is another one. And then since I started working in the business, Adam Agoyan has become someone that I've really appreciated. Patty Jenkins is a director who I think is really smart and creative. Gary Fleeter is a director who I just love and admire so much. Adam Arkin is somebody who's had a huge impact on my life. And his directing style, the way that he leads on a set, is something I've tried to emulate because he's just like a kid in a candy shop and has so much joy, while he does what he does. So I've learned a lot from actually being an actor. And for 26 years, I've just been on sets watching.
Well, I was wondering, you've got so much of a history there. Now that you're directing actors, does it change how you direct, thinking about how it's being received? Because you've received a direction for so long.
Yeah, it has impacted everything. The idea of acting is you want to convey truth and you want to create an authentic human moment, which really is sort of two sides of the same coin. Right. It's like an authentic human moment is a truthful moment. Knowing your lines. So knowing what you're saying, know why you're saying it, and then breathing. So those are that's like if I could give a master class on acting to young actors out there, acting is knowing what you're going to say. So you just know your lines, and whatever that means to learn them. If you have to write them out, if you have to say them 10,000 times, get them in your body so that you're not like, what am I supposed to say? And then know why you're saying what you're saying. And that's a pretty big lift to understand why it is. Which really means knowing your place in the story, which really means knowing why why the scene exists, why is this important at all. And the trick with actors is I think we think that we're the most important thing. on the set.
Sure.
And we're the most expensive piece of equipment on the set, that's for sure.
Yes.
And every actor in their moment is the most important guy. I'm going to clear my throat real quick.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was just doing the same thing. It's
early.
hey, look, you look great considering how late you were up last night.
Yeah. And it is 5 a.m. right now. It's not. It's a little later than that, but we can pretend.
A friend of mine said that you posted something on social media at like 3 this morning. So
It was when I got home.
yeah,
I was like, I was so overjoyed last night. I had so much gratitude for last night.
that's great.
But I think to answer your question very quickly and more succinctly, that yes, the 26 years of me being a professional actor have given me a great insight on how to talk to actors and really just create an atmosphere for them to feel safe enough to play. Because what I'm after are those authentic human moments.
Sure.
And a lot of times if you've just learned your lines and you're just wanting to make sure you get those 100% versus, okay, I'm here, now I'm going to forget the thing that I just learned. I'm just going to play and breathe and listen and respond. And that was the environment that I was really, really keen on creating on that set.
Nice. Well, it's from what I heard from the Q&A, it sounded like it went exactly like that.
It was really,
Everybody seemed pretty pleased. I remember Stephen Tobolowsky last night saying, as an actor, his two thoughts are always, what do you love and what are you afraid of?
Yeah.
And that's what creates his motivation.
All
I thought
his
that was
characters.
brilliant.
It's brilliant.
Brilliant. And you can, and with that lens, I think about the things I've seen him in. I go, oh yeah,
You're like, yeah,
okay,
yeah,
that works.
yeah. I had an acting teacher at NYU who said, every objective can be boiled down to two: to love the other person or to hate the other person. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I think fear is the byproduct of hate. And so it's,
cool.
Stephen is a genius. I love that guy. He has got a rabbinical mind, and he looks at the world through a spiritual gaze, and or through a spiritual lens, if you will.
Right.
And just whip smart. And I was so honored when he said yes to join Mimics. And I think he brings how about that scene?
Instant credibility.
Yeah, he elevates it,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you're like, wait, the dude from Groundhog's Day, the dude from Memento, the
Yeah.
dude from Spaceballs
Right.
is in Mimics. Like,
And
it's
immediately,
yeah,
it elevates it.
same with Chris Parnell.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right?
I'm a huge fan of Chris Parnell's as well.
Everything he touches is gold. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Every skit he did for SNL is legendary.
I remember him on a few episodes of Drunk History.
Yeah.
That if I think about it, I will bust out laughing
Right.
now, and I can't do that because we're having a conversation. So I'm going to move my brain.
Don't
come
meditate
back.
on it.
All
Yeah.
right. I wrote a million things to talk about. I'll never get to all of them.
Do you want to slam a couple down?
No. Well, just one thing that I did not know about you until I watched this movie is that you're a sort of an impressionist. You have skills as an impressionist. Is this something that you started out doing when you were a kid, or did you develop it for a purpose?
No, this was a hidden talent. Truly hidden.
Hidden until when?
Until Mimics.
Oh, really? Okay.
What I did my whole life, so let's see if I can do it for your listeners. So like the sound of breaking glass, ready? Okay, here's a punch. Here's a gun. Or, right? So I used to do all these noises as a kid. Yeah. I was a nerd. And Mark Oakley was like, dude, how do you do all that? And then I used to imitate Mickey Mouse. So let me do this one. Ready?
Well, hi there. How you doing? It's me, Mickey.
It's a good Mickey.
Okay. And then when I learned Mickey, I thought, well, can I do Kermit? I was like, hi, it's me, Kermit the Frog here. And I am standing in front of the castle with Princess Cinderella. So then all of a sudden I would start creating these weird scenes between Mickey Mouse and Kermit the Frog. And then every once in a while, like Donald Duck would show up. And that was the sort of the low-hanging fruit of my childhood. And then I remember watching Jim Carrey. He was like, I do imitations of like, I'll do Jimmy Stewart doing Jack Nicholson.
Right.
And I thought, man, that's really cool.
That is really
And then I was able to imitate him imitating them.
Oh, that's fun.
So all of a sudden, and it was one of those things where people were like, wow, that sounds like, so Jack Nicholson is very like, he lives right here. And as soon as I do him, the eyebrows go up
immediately go
and
up.
it was fun because it's like, it was a party, it was like a parlor trick. And I'd pull them out on set, or I would do, But then, I don't know, as I've gotten older, like playing me all the time is boring. And I was like, and to be really honest with you, Hallmark became this beautiful avenue for me to exercise my art as an actor. And I was like, I'm not going to be the same guy in 20 movies.
Right.
Like I will die.
Right.
I
Yeah.
will die creatively.
Oh, for
I
sure.
will go into a hole and
Yeah.
I will feel
It'll
so
shrivel.
Yeah, I will shrivel. I was like, so I have to do something that challenges me as an
Yeah.
artist. And I was like, I'm just going to be different characters. So the challenge is this. The challenge is this. If you watch all of my Hallmark movies,
And I probably have.
and your sweet wife,
Oh
has
my God.
dragged you in.
She is one of the people who has the socks that say, "I'll just
leave me
hanging out."
alone. Yeah, watching my Hallmark
and
movies.
given to her by other people who recognize it.
Right.
But still,
It's a thing.
That's the thing. So I've seen most everything.
You get it, and it's a rabid fan base, which I'm
yes.
so grateful for.
Yes.
But if you watch all of my Hallmark movies, the guys in them are all slight variations, and they're all different.
Yeah.
And what I've done was I'll channel, George Clooney from Up in the Air for Hearts of Christmas, or and I channeled Jimmy Stewart, where I literally said, to me, he sounds like this, so I'm gonna do a character that's this, and they're like, "Are you really?" I was like, "Yeah." And then I think if you watch Biltmore Christmas, I brought Jimmy Stewart back.
Yeah.
Just because I love It's a Wonderful Life. I just
yeah.
love the Frank Capra movie. That's another
We watch it every Christmas
yeah.
day.
And the stories behind that movie are just so intensely personal and real. They both went to World War II.
Yeah.
Frank Capra
Yeah.
was there filming as Auschwitz was when the
opening
Russians
up.
came in and freed everybody from Auschwitz, and he was the one filming all that. Jimmy Stewart was in like 20 pilot.
Yeah.
He's a pilot.
That scene where he's at the bar
Praying. It was really him
It was real.
Yeah.
My understanding is that was not acting.
No, and I
for
saw an
real.
interview with him later in life where he's like, every time I watch it, it was him calling out to God, being like, I don't know. He didn't want to make another movie. Frank Capra was like, please come make this movie. And that's the power of art. That's the power of
incredible.
cinema. When you can, again, it's finding a truth and then saying, here, I'm going to build a world around this one little piece of information that I want you to watch, and I want to share it with you. And when you get it right, man, and you feel it in your bones, you're like, oh, that movie resonates. I love it.
Yeah. And even when it doesn't in the moment, because that wasn't a hit at the time.
I know, it's true. Isn't that weird?
No one watched it until it started getting a rerun on television.
Well, and here's the thing. Frank Capra was an independent filmmaker. He did it outside of the studio system. And I'm wondering if that was by the nature of the fact that he didn't have the Lehman, theatrical community behind him or whatever. He was doing it independently, which mimics.
As long as we're talking about independent film, everybody.
Yeah.
Just
Mimics
don't forget.
is a fully independently financed, independently produced, independently distributed movie that from the ground up. And I literally when I talked to Ken Carpenter, I said, hey, Ken, this is what Frank Capra did with Liberty Productions. I think we can do this. And he was like, let's do it, man. Let's rock and roll.
Well, it worked.
And we didn't, we didn't ever try to sell it. We were like, let's just keep our hands on the wheel from A to Z all the way through cradle to grave.
Incredible. All right. Well, before we wrap up, I have one more Hallmark thing I need to go back to because I'm curious. I just watched you a week or two ago on a cruise ship in Italy, popping around.
And missing the boat.
I saw you on a New York news station doing an interview and talking about all the places you get to go. And I'm thinking about that. First of all, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Secondly, what kind of timeline do you guys produce those movies in? Because they're fairly. They come out fairly consistently, and so it seems like they're pretty efficient.
They're very efficient, and they're very fast. It's a 15-day shoot.
Okay.
It's 3 weeks. And you're there like, I'll fly in about 2 or 3 days before production. They want you there like a week, but I'm like, guys, you need me for a costume fitting and what else? A table read? Yeah. I'll be there like, which is fair. It's fair enough.
Well, I mean, if
I've got a wife and 3 kids.
If they're not
like,
pushing back that hard, then they're okay.
Well, because
with it.
they're always like, come a week early. I'm like, for what? Like to hang out for 3 days and not
if
do-
everyone's coming, then it's like a little advanced vacation before the work starts.
Sure. Right.
But
if
if
I'm
your
bringing
family's
everybody,
coming,
but yeah.
does that ever get to happen?
You know what it does when I work overseas, except for this last one,
Okay.
because everyone's in school. That was a real specific time. But they came to Fiji with me. They went to Iceland with me.
Oh, wow.
My son was born in Hawaii. They've lived in New York while I filmed in New York. They went to school in Vancouver, Canada when I lived and worked there.
Nice.
It's been a wonderful life. It really has been a cool adventure.
I'm jealous of all of those locations and that you get to kiss Jill Wagner on TV. Okay. One last thing. The Mystery 101 series.
Yeah. What happened?
What cliffhanger ending? You
What?
guys are,
Yeah.
they leave us hanging with this. They're apart. It's a year after what looks like a lovely culmination of this.
we
this
finally admit
romance.
love for one another.
And then you go, 1 year later, and they're enemies, and we don't know why. And then the series is over because I don't know why. What happened?
It's all politics, man.
Yeah,
it's all internal network. Network versus network.
Yeah, I know. Everything we like gets canceled. That's my that's my life with my wife. We watch series and
and
they
then
go
you're like,
away.
What happened?
And in the middle of it.
My whole career is shows that were canceled prematurely.
Right.
People like that's the testament of the thing is like when 10 years later they're like, why was Life Unexpected
They
canceled?
still love that.
Yeah, and it's
because you can't really no one really knows other than if you were in the room when they made the choice.
Yeah.
But,
well, I mean, I could tell you why, but it starts to sound like excuses after a while. But like, for Life Unexpected, it was the president at the time, whose name I'm forgetting right now, but she picked our show up, and then CW said, "We don't want you to work for us anymore." And right before her last day, the last thing that she did was like, "I'm taking Life Unexpected back," and canceled us.
Oh, that's harsh.
Retributionally. And then the guy who came in was Mark Pedowitz, and he was like, that was my wife and I's favorite show. We would have kept you on.
Oh, brutal.
Even Les Moonves, who, at the time was running CBS, was like, that was my favorite show on the CW. He's like, I thought that thing was going to run for 5 years. I'm like, can't you do something about that? Like, that's bittersweet information.
Okay, everything's getting a reboot these days.
Yeah.
Why not that?
Why not Life Unexpected?
Why not?
Maybe.
Yeah. Idea. Somebody.
Did you see the little post that Brittany Robertson from Life Unexpected
No.
did for Mimics? Check this out, man. She is, again, it's when generosity meets the business. I don't know, it becomes so personal and so beautiful. Look at this. The first post, it's already been viewed over 1 million times. She's delivered her baby.
Oh, it's a beautiful photo.
Isn't that
she's wearing a Mimics
and she's
t-shirt.
wearing a Mimics t-shirt. I'll send you both of
Send
those
me
so
that too.
you can throw them in
I
so
gotta
people
put
can
that
see.
up. That's cool.
So her baby is literally brand new in the world, and she popped on a Mimics t-shirt to help like share the. I mean, it's like
What a friend.
again, it's just.
Is that her first baby?
It's her first baby.
Now I'm extra impressed.
Yeah,
because
the fact that she was
she
like,
shouldn't be thinking of
she was like,
anything else.
Bring the shirt. We're hooking Chris up. Like
Now,
like,
flash forward 20 years, and that baby's like, Mom, really?
like a dark.
You couldn't have focused on me?
No, I'm sure she was.
Your first
focusing on
one?
the baby.
She's coming back. All right. Thank you for the time and coming in here. You've had
Anything
you're
else
the
on?
only-
I feel like
you're
we
the only
haven't.
person I know who's had a marathon of movies but named after him on Hallmark. That's impressive. Also, I think you're the only guy I've ever who has ever shot both of the principals on Castle and left them for dead.
Yeah,
Another show that had a funky ending.
literally killed the show.
Well done, my friend.
Thanks.
You've shot them both. You're the only guy. You're magic. All right, we got to go. There's a meeting coming into this studio, and I got to wrap it up. All right,
Okay.
Thank you so much, Kristoffer Polaha. I appreciate you giving me the time. This has been really fun, and I really enjoyed the experience of going to the movie. It was wonderful.
Dave.
I hope we're celebrating an extension.
A victory lap.
What did you call it?
We call it hold.
Another frame.
Yeah, we want a second frame.
A second frame.
Yeah.
So here's to that second frame that we are manifesting right now.
Amen. Amen.
All right, cool.
Thank you, brother.
All right, well, before we go, I got to remind everybody to watch Artifacts on PBS Reno. That's via broadcast streaming, pbsreno.org, the PBS Reno YouTube channel, or the PBS app. Also, read art views on pbsreno.org. Now, if you have a question or maybe a comment or suggestion, please send them to me at podcast@pbsreno.org. And my thanks again to Kristoffer Polaha, and thank you for listening to PBS Reno Arts.
Support for this episode of PBS Reno Arts is provided by the Nevada Arts Council. Arts and creativity make us stronger, fueling innovation, prosperity, and thriving communities across Nevada. They boost our economy, promote well-being, and enhance education, empowering Nevadans of all ages. The Nevada Arts Council nurtures these essential creative forces. Together, let's elevate the arts in every corner of our great state. More at nvartscouncil.org.